Welcome to Side 1, Side B with Dave and Steve. I'm Steve.
And I'm Dave.
And today we have a special guest.
Hello.
We have Adam, who used to sing in my band Valley of Shadows. And we had a weird talk show together about nothing.
Little Pop Goes the Show. I bet you can find that on the on the internet.
After we started this, I actually popped in to look at the analytics on that, and like some people do occasionally pop in and watch them. So
That's me.
yeah, you've watched them 150 times. Gotcha.
Yeah, probably.
All right, and you're currently in Wasabi Bobby, which we will plug at the end.
Wasabi Bobby. Goes in together, man. Wasabi Bobby.
Wasabi Bobby.
There you go.
All right.
And you can't help but smile when you say it.
I know, yeah. All right, well, today we are listening to a compact disc because I could not find a reasonably priced copy of this, which I was kind of surprised because this is an old school album, came out in 72. What do you guys know about the late, great Ronnie James Dio? Dave?
Yeah, I know Rainbow. I know, like, the Heaven and Hell period of Black Sabbath that he was there. And I know, like, I thought this was a solo project, but I just found out that, no, it was just a band named after him. But that's kind of a fuzzy line anyway. But, yeah, I know, like, the two singles from Dio, the Holy Diver and Rainbow in the Dark. Like, yeah, so I know the two singles from Dio, but, like, not much beyond that.
The only consistent member in Dio was Dio, so, I mean, that kind of tells you.
Yeah.
How much Rainbow, just like the hits, or have you listened to an album or anything?
I think just the hits.
Okay, gotcha. Well, I asked because this album has a bunch of Rainbow members on it, but before we get into that, Adam, what do you know about Ronnie James Dio?
I'd say maybe a little more than the average bear. I know a lot of, Rainbow and Elf and stuff like that. But I know a bit about, like, the person Dio, because I always found that just as fascinating as the music. Like, what just a cool, like, chill guy he was. Like, did you know when he was doing the vocal tracks for Tenacious D, Pick a Destiny, there's actually a video out there you can find of him doing the vocals, and he blows up a microphone. He's so powerful, the microphone just shits out, and they're like, oh my God, and he's like, I'm sorry, but it's okay. I keep one in the trunk of my car. And he goes outside and brings his own mic in.
Yeah, I remember Jack Black telling the story of that one. And, like, at first, yeah, he had that microphone. And I think they were just like, but we have, like, these expensive ones. And like you said, it just wasn't right. And
well, it's funny because if you watch the actual video, you expect it to be in a studio. But it looks like they're just chilling in a house like this.
Oh, really?
They're just all just standing around hanging out. And they're just, all of them are just completely jaws on the floor like, we're watching Dio sing. Can you imagine Jack Black, like, watching Dio? And you can see the look on his face, but it just doesn't even do it justice. Dio is singing my lyrics in my movie right now, and he's excited to be here.
So since Dio blew out a microphone, would that make Dio the real master exploder?
Yes.
And, I mean, I could see Dio not needing a microphone.
His voice is fucking
powerful! All right, well, today we're going back all the way to 1972 to not Dio's first band. He had a number of different, like, rock and roll or doo-wop groups before this. And I played Dave
I don't know anything about the Dio doo-wop. I didn't know about that, though.
It's fine.
I knew it was, but I haven't heard any of it.
I heard a little bit of a cover of Love Potion No. 9, which was okay.
Yeah.
I'm hearing him singing in Tenacious D, but I'm hearing him sing Love Potion No. 9, and the two parts of my brain just can't reconcile that. Is y'all like, yeah, Love Potion No. 9.
It's much more straightforward than that.
Yeah, no, you won't really recognize his voice in it. I mean, I can because I recognize his talking voice, but yeah, there wasn't really many elements of the Dio that we ended up getting in the 80s when he got nationally or world recognized, I should say.
That's because he probably started smoking weed and he's like, doo-wop sucks.
that could very well be. But yeah, so he went from doo-wop in a band called Ronnie Dio and the Prophets He was already called Ronnie Dio at this point. He says he's named after a gangster named Dio, and he ended up not calling himself Dio on this album because he wanted to at least have one album where his parents' last name were on it. So he credited himself as Ronald Padavona, which I hope I pronounced correctly.
Oh, and that gangster you mentioned was Mafia member Johnny Dio.
Oh, okay. Thanks for looking that up. See, that's why we asked you on here.
See, you shouldn't have told me I looked. I would have sounded really smart. I mean, they'd figure out in like another 2 or 3 minutes that I'm not, but at least that would have been my shining moment.
No, we don't want the plagiarism allegations.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so after Ronnie Dio and the Prophets, they became the Electric Elves. I've heard a lot of bootlegs of the Electric Elves, and they were a good rock band for the time period. I showed Dave their cover of War Pigs. So there is a bootleg of Dio singing War Pigs like 10 years before he was in Sabbath.
I wonder if there was ever a conflict with like the band Big Elf, because Dio used Elf multiple times, and it's like, I wonder if Big Elf, the heavy metal like Sabbathy type band, had to go like beg Dio to use it. They're like, we know you don't own the word elf, but you're Dio and you're kind of you're God, so
Very well could have been a conflict between the two.
and then Dio kicked all their asses with his voice.
So Elf started in 1967, ended in 1975. That's when the band basically became Rainbow, which we'll circle around to here in a bit. In 1968, their drummer, Nick Pantis, was killed in an accident, so they did a lot of shuffling around and moved some people around. So by the time this album came out, they'd shortened Electric Elves to Elf, which I think Electric Elves was a better name.
Yeah, I do.
I wish they would have kept that one.
You can't copyright a word like that that's used so broadly. I mean, there's different kind of, trademarks, so I suppose you could trademark it for like band purposes, for musical purposes, but I feel like Electric Elf, it's a better name and it would have been easier to control that. Nobody else can use Electric Elf. You can use Electric, you can use Elf, but no Electric Elf.
I don't know why they changed their name. Back then, they wouldn't have had the same considerations that we have now. Like,
That's true.
They wouldn't have to DuckDuckGo it. So obviously, they didn't think about that. But
Yeah.
I would have assumed myself that Electric Elves would have stood out on a flyer better than Elf.
Yeah.
And like even when I was searching for like information about this band, not enough for it to like hinder it or anything, but half of it was like I was looking for a vinyl copy of this one, and I found more copies of the vinyl version of the soundtrack for Elf than I could find for this. That's why I had to drag the CD copy out, because I wasn't paying like $50 for a beat up copy of this album. As much as I love it, but I mean I have a CD copy, so it's fine.
That's why I don't open half my vinyls. Like I have it on YouTube or whatever, like, and plus my turntable sucks. So I'm like, no.
Yeah, mine isn't the best, but it gets the job done.
Mine it's in one of those little 5-in-1s. Plays CD, it has the radio, it looks old school, looks super old.
Oh, like a 90s?
And
yeah.
the top lifts up, and it has the record player and stuff in it too. Yeah, it's not.
Does it play the stuff back accurately?
Yeah, I mean, it plays it, but it's very... I mean, you're going to get... That's what I love about vinyl, is you're going to get scratches and pops and things like that. But this is like... You can hear everything, but it's just very... It's like somebody... Like when you put a cover over a bird at night. It's like that. You can still hear the bird. You still know the bird's there, but you can sleep a little better.
Well, I was telling Dave a few weeks ago, I used to have a record player that was like a percentage slower, like 1% slower than usual. So all of my music just sounded slightly more evil, and I actually thought that was kind of cool.
Hence why you started playing Doom.
Yeah, that might be my origin story.
This is a complete tangent, but I was reminded today. Have you ever listened to the Chipmunk Rock Slowed Down? I know there's that Patton Oswalt bit about like the Christmas stuff, but like...
I think I have. Yeah.
But like listen to like their rock album or Chipmunk Punk or whatever they called it, where they play like "Call Me" by Blondie or like "Walk Like an Egyptian" by the Bangles, and it sounds like a shoegaze band. It's kind of amazing.
Yeah, I think I've heard some of that. Yeah,
they did that with Miley Cyrus's Wrecking Ball, and they inverted the whole video so everything looks super freaky. They slowed it down and put it in like a minor chord, so he's like, Wrecking Ball.
Did they play the video backwards too? So like she was like slowly swinging around.
No,
and things
but they inverted the colors, so like it just turned into the freakiest thing you've ever seen. Like I really feel like this you could have just put it out like this, and been like, this is great. This chick is awesome. She's super metal.
Yeah, on the subject of songs that were slowed down, I've always really liked the slowed down version of Jolene by Dolly Parton, because like it almost sounds like a funky indie song when it's slowed down, and then you have like what sounds really close to like an actual person, because a lot of times those slowed down recordings, it's deep, but it doesn't actually sound like a person. Like Dolly Slowed Down actually sounds like a baritone man.
Yeah.
Very
Did you know
upset.
that song's a true story?
Oh, is it?
She went to the bank. She was on tour, and her husband was messing around with the chick that worked at the bank. And she went to the bank and got in a fight with her, and Jolene whooped her ass. And she said, she's like, that's fine, she beat me up, but I took him home, and then when we got home, I beat his ass. I was like, damn, go you. She's also covered in tattoos, allegedly. That's why you never see her in a short sleeve.
I believe it, yeah.
I love Dolly. She's
Great.
She's great, yeah.
I need to listen to the rock album she
And
just
if you
put out.
don't love it, don't do it. Don't
No?
do it.
Okay.
No. And even
I need to listen to the song she did with Halford, probably. No?
I need to come on for an episode so I can give my thoughts on that.
Well, one I do want you to bring is the Chris Gaines album sometime. That would be a fun one for
I
us
have
to
that in
review.
my car. I have 3 CDs in my car. 2 of them one of them is a Garth Brooks, one of them is a Chris Gaines, and the other one's High on Fire.
Oh shit, maybe we should do that instead of Acid Bath.
Oh my god, that whole story of that. Yeah, that's a damn near a 2-parter right there.
Well, that's for another time, because today we're talking about Elf.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys.
The debut album, recorded by Deep Purple's Roger Glover and Ian Pace, who happened to see Elf in 1972. So all the Deep Purple guys just seem to love Elf. Like, obviously, they ended up playing with Richie Blackmore, produced by 2 of the members. Years later, Dio, like, joined them for, like, all these shows where he, like, sang some Deep Purple songs with them. So there's just a big Deep Purple connection with this band.
I saw Deep Purple and Priest last time they were in town.
Oh, I did too. God, they
Priest
were so
opened
good.
up. Dude, I got a signed guitar pick and all that because
Oh, nice.
when they were switching over bands, Deep Purple was the headliner, which was kind of weird. I mean, they're classic, but I thought Judas Priest would be the headliner on that bill.
Yeah, I would have reversed them.
Yeah, but it was their anniversary, so they're doing the switch over. I went to use the bathroom inside and popped $5 in a penny slot. Won like $140.
Nice.
Went back out and bought an autographed guitar pick, Deep Purple, all this shit. Like, I was like, this is the best Deep Purple show ever. Like, it's like, how many times have you seen them? I was like, this is my first time.
Yeah, that was. I was at that same show, and you know, as sad as I am that John Lord passed away, the guy that they replaced him with was just as good as John Lord, and he was doing like guitar shredding on his keyboards. It was, and they had him up on the big screen, and I was just in awe. Yeah, that was one of the coolest shows I've ever seen, and Judas Priest were on that night too. Like, that was a great show.
I've seen them 3 times there.
Elf, they went on 8 world tours with Deep Purple, and unfortunately, it did not yield them any commercial success.
Jeez.
That
Sounds about right.
This album flopped. The next 2 flopped. It wasn't until the members joined up with Rainbow that anybody from the band had any commercial success.
Pick a destiny. Pick a destiny.
And then at the end of the day, Dio was the only one out of the band. Well, Craig Gruber went on to do some interesting things too, but Dio was the one that went on to do the most things.
Dio's the member that I know the name of, so there's that.
Yeah, exactly. That leads us into the lineup. The other 2 albums had a different guitar player. This one had David Feinstein. He left right after this album. He kind of looks like Rasputin, so that's kind of cool. He formed a metal band called The Rods in the 1980s. and-
Phallic.
Yes, very phallic. They did some good stuff. You know, they're kind of like, you know, when we did the Samson album, I think they're kind of like the New York area version of Samson, in a sense, like that level of success.
Also went on to be a world-renowned proctologist.
No shit.
I don't know. It sounded like it was real though, right? I mean,
Well, it's like Terry Chimes is a chiropractor, and the guy from Big Black is a
Lawyer.
lawyer. Yeah.
Yeah. Not Steve Albini, Santiago Durango. Yeah.
The piano and organist on this one, Mickey Lee Soul, he went on to join the Ian Gillan band for a tour, and he ended up teching for Deep Purple for the drummer and I think the bassist for a long time. So he got a gig. Gary Driscoll, which I'm actually going to get my phone out for this one because there's a story here. So before I say all the tragic things here, Gary Driscoll was an American R&B style rock drummer who performed in a number of successful bands from the 1960s until his unsolved murder.
Oh, okay.
So
Tonight on Unsolved Mysteries.
yeah, I'm pretty sure this was probably a case on a show like that.
Well, now I'm going to have to look it up at some point.
I learned a lot about Gary Driscoll from a YouTube video where Richie Blackmore was being interviewed, and it sounds like the guy had a really good heart, and he was really clumsy, and half the time he'd like go up to Blackmore and be like, oh, I tripped and fell and broke my leg, and now you don't have a drummer. So like a lot of stories like that. He also seemed to really like the guy, even though he fired him later. I think overall, Richie just didn't like his R&B style drumming, which I think is a feature personally, but whatever. He was dismissed from Rainbow shortly after the Richie Blackmore's Rainbow album, and he ended up joining a band called Dakota before joining Bible Black with Craig Gruber, the bass player that's not on this album because Dio's the bass player on this album, and future Blue Cheer guitarist Duck McDonald and singer Jeff Fenholt, who has a Sabbath connection because he almost joined for the Seven Star album, but they didn't end up going with him. And then when he became a crazy, like, Christian televangelist later, he used his Black Sabbath connection to, like, talk about how much they were into the devil and all that kind of stuff and be like, that's how I found God, is I left Black. Anyway.
Televangelist, grifter, yep.
Yeah.
Is this an episode of The Boys? Because that sounds oddly familiar if you've been watching this season.
I need to catch up on that. Driscoll was murdered in Ithaca, New York, on June 8th, 1987. So I was briefly alive at the same time as Gary Driscoll. So maybe I inherited his soul, and that's why I'm a drummer now. He had a residence nearby, and he'd visit his friend in Ithaca. And in his friend's basement, he was found dead, severely beaten, stabbed with 2 gunshots to the head. His friend, I guess, sold drugs out of the apartment, and his friend was sleeping at a motel because the people that wanted drugs wouldn't stop bothering him, so he wouldn't stay at home when he was sleeping. And I guess while he was at the hotel, Gary got murdered. To this day, the case is unsolved.
I mean, that sounds like a drug deal gone bad type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, my thing with that, too, is, though, you said he was shot twice, right? And stabbed in the head? Or did you say stabbed?
Let's see. Severely beaten, stabbed with 2 gunshots to the head.
See, severely beaten, stabbed, 2 gunshots to the head. Man, that shit was personal. That doesn't have... I mean, that's... You had to take time to beat him. Then you stabbed him. And then you shot him. That shit sounds personal as fuck.
And do that kind of stuff at a hotel where people can potentially hear it?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, he let you in because he didn't see... He didn't... That was his safe spot.
No, he was at the basement of the guy's house.
Oh, the basement of the guy's house.
Yeah, and I think the guy wasn't... Well, there's more details here. Driscoll stopped by the apartment on June 7th as Jelinas and Tome were leaving for the night, and they said he could stay if he wanted to. So I guess he just stayed there.
Oh,
Shillingford apparently entered the building and beat Driscoll late that night. Early next morning, cut him with a knife, and fired his gun twice at Driscoll's head. The gun was discarded nearby, recovered by police. Shillingford's fingerprints were identified on Driscoll's car, found abandoned a few miles north at a shopping center. But he was acquitted after his attorney successfully challenged the handgun evidence. The handgun was found on a roadway with a broken grip, and pieces of the grip were also found in a grassy field. Defense alleged that police investigators had planted evidence at the crime scene involving pieces of the gun grip reportedly found days later on the carpet of the apartment, which had already been searched thoroughly.
sounds like he had a good lawyer.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that's all I can say about that. I mean, he had a damn good lawyer, because...
I don't know. I'm gonna have to see.
I was waiting for to hear about this mystery, and I was like, that dude shot him. Like, no, that seems pretty.
I should see if Last Podcast on the Left has done an episode about this.
I'm actually curious to see if any of the... Because I like to watch those unsolved murder channels sometimes.
Yeah. Mr. Ballin does a lot of them. I watch a lot of his stuff.
Yeah. And if that isn't the case, somebody should pick that up and do it.
Yeah.
So that was sad, but that leads us to our last, the man that we're all familiar with, Ronald Padavona. Padavona?
Provolone.
Ronald Provolone.
Two things that I learned from this: that Dio could play bass, and that Dio was an American. I just assumed because he was in Sabbath that he was British.
He played with a lot of because he was with Richie Blackmore too. But
Yeah.
no, it just I think the Deep Purple thing just made him more on the radar of British musicians. So, but that would have been a reasonable assumption to have. The cover on this album is credited to Japanese artist Hiroshi Morishima, and I'd like to thank the channel The Golden Age of Hard Rock for pointing that out. According to them, the guy that painted this cover only worked on albums for classical music after this. So we'll give this over to Dave to describe.
This looks like someone painted some porn of Alan Moore, but with elf ears.
Yeah, I thought it looked like Dio. So it's Dio porn.
Yeah. This is, I don't know, this is deeply upsetting. There's like a shirtless little guy with pointed ears and like long hair, like grunting and like bent over. The back, it's a picture of the band standing in a field. Then there's a painting of like someone leaning against a grassy knoll. But yeah, I mean, it's a good painting. It's just, I feel like I'm walking in on something looking at this.
It almost looks like Dio in a way on the front. So it's like that whole thing when you're like, Mom, we need to go get Dio, and your mom's like, we have Dio at home. That's like, it's like you'd be like, oh, that's Dio. Well, it's kind of like, like off Dio. Like, well, we can't. It's Kmart, so we can't say like. Is Kmart even a thing anymore?
No, we don't have to bleep it.
Oh, okay. But yeah, it's like a certain list. Sometimes when you wish upon a star and you put things on a list, it kind of looks like if you were to do that in your mind. In the back of it, I thought from over there, I thought it was like them from behind. Because the joke in there was it was just like Elf from behind. And I was like, well, I don't know what to think of that because there's no parental advisory on it. It's like, ooh, it's a grab bag. They could say a bad word like boob.
You know what's funny, though, is I'm looking at the picture of Dio on the back, and he doesn't really look like the elf on the front. The elf on the front kind of looks like Dio, like when he got older.
Which one's Dio? Because there's two taller guys and there's two guys that are the same height.
He's the second one over. So 1, 2. So the one with the beard and the long hair.
Well, oh, see, that's what threw me off is the beard.
Yeah, and then the guy at the very end, that's his cousin, so that's why he kind of looks like him.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I was like, he looks like Bon Scott on the end there. He's like,
Yeah, he kind of does.
Jesus, my balls hurt. He was a background singer on a really famous song. He was part of a group. Bon Scott was like...
That's like Ozzy guested on like I want to say it was like a dance song or like a rap song or something like that. Something that he wasn't like normally his thing, and that's because like the singer just didn't show up. So Ozzy's like, I'll do it, and they just let him.
Yeah.
Future Steve here, just to give some more context on this one. The song was called Shake Your Head by an American pop rock group called Was, Not Was. And originally, the song was released on their second album, Born to Laugh at Tornadoes. And the original singer was actually Madonna, pre-fame. And they just ended up using Ozzy Osbourne for some reason and turned it into a duet with Kim Basinger. So, yeah, you can go check that out. Ozzy doing a pop dance song. Oh, and another fun fact. According to the band's biography, they also invited Richard Nixon to play piano on the song, but unsurprisingly, he refused. So, there's a universe where Richard Nixon played piano on that song.
Well, all right, so side 1. We have 4 tracks. We have Hoochie Coochie Lady, First Avenue, Nevermore, and I'm Coming Back for You. What are you guys expecting from this?
Hoochie Coochie Lady, I'm expecting, I don't know, like some kind of bluesy honky tonk, like roots type stuff. I'm Coming Back for You. I'm expecting, Coming Home to My Baby. No, I'm not.
Speeding back to my baby.
Yeah, that wasn't speeding back. Yeah,
And I don't mean maybe.
piss off Kiss fans more by getting the name wrong.
Oh, I was gonna when Adam.
Oh, God.
When Adam said "Wish Upon the Star" earlier, I was gonna say, "Have you heard the Gene Simmons version of that song?" And then I forgot. But.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm expecting, kind of like bluesy, rootsy, rock and roll type of thing.
Adam, what?
Hoochie Coochie, I was immediately like Taties. That's the first thing. I mean, it's music that I would hear. It's a song that I'm going to hear somewhere where titties are out in an open display. It's just going to be played in that kind of place. That's kind of what comes to mind there.
Yeah, expecting something, I don't know, like Zeppelin-esque.
Yeah, it's with less like sex noises.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, I love everything about Zeppelin except all of the vocals. I can't do it. So there's one of those songs that Bonham didn't want to be on, so he's just playing this and I think this is even what makes him even more of a genius. The way he's doing his hi-hat, it sounds like he's going, suck it, suck it, suck it, suck it. And once you hear it in the song, you won't be able to unhear it. You're like, ooh.
I can't wait to loop that and put it into the super cut I'm making of a cappella noises.
Oh my god.
You know, if you like everything about Zeppelin except for the singing, you'll have to check out Lord Such sometime. We reviewed that album on this podcast, and it was called the worst album worst rock album like ever or something.
And it was not.
Yeah,
it was pretty good.
Not in the slightest. It was kind of sloppy, but I mean, that's because Jimmy Page is just sloppy when he doesn't get a chance to do it a million times.
Yeah.
Was there just like no vocals on it or what?
No, it's done by Lord Such.
Okay.
Yeah, Screaming Lord Such, he was like a shock rocker type of guy.
Yeah, very influenced by Screamin' Jay Hawkins.
Okay.
Yeah, he's awesome. Definitely suggest checking him out. I also have a live album that we're gonna do next season where we'll do more Lord Such. But right now, Elf.
Yes.
All right, we are back from side one of the CD.
We're gonna flip the CD over, see what happens.
When I do the visuals for this one, I'm gonna put the CD on the record player so I have it spinning around like it's a record.
Put the needle on the CD.
Well, I don't know.
Oh shit.
All right, what'd you guys think?
I enjoyed it. It was not what I was expecting. It's funny. Like, if you listen to what I said as a prediction, it sounds like it's right, but it wasn't. This is what I thought the Danny Joe Brown band would sound like, and they sounded more metal than this. So this is kind of like, I don't know. This is kind of like, yeah. This sounds to me more like Southern rock than say Danny Joe Brown, which sounded just like heavy metal, like early heavy metal to me.
It's funny. They're from upstate New York, but yeah, when I was listening to this earlier, I'm like, this is like, I showed Dave the Danny Joe Brown band as his first Southern rock experience, but this is almost like his first Southern rock experience, not even a Southern band. But
Yeah.
anyway, Adam.
Yes. No, I had a thought, but then
Trying to find.
Google took my thoughts.
That's why we promote DuckDuckGo on this show.
All right, yeah, well, fuck the other guys. Go to DuckDuckGo and do whatever you do there, because I do.
Well, Adam, what'd you think of side one?
I was trying to think of the song that it reminded me of, like, all of side one. It reminded me of, like, one song, because I did sound for a cover band last night, and they were doing, like, older stuff, and it's the same type of... Oh God, I can't. It might have been some of the Stones stuff from around that time, maybe.
I think they were Stones
yeah.
fans. Yeah, I could.
So like Honky Tonk and stuff like that. That's why I asked.
Yeah, Honky Tonk Woman, maybe by the Stones, or
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. No. That's why I asked what we were listening to. I was like, or said something about was it produced by Hank Williams Jr. or something, because it sounded very. I don't know. Like I hear, like especially the piano. How like the piano takes more of a lead role, and the lead guitar is really just like the rhythm guitar.
In a lot of ways, the piano player is the star of the show on this one, I think, alongside Dio, because while the guitar and the bass and the drums are like all holding it down, like the piano is just going nuts on all four of these songs.
It's like Elton John or Billy Joel playing honky tonk with the Rolling Stones.
yeah, that's pretty apt description of what that was. Like even when like the guitar was like doing like solos and was way higher in the mix, it's like you could hear the piano doing something, sometimes only slightly, but always more interesting than the guitar solo that was going on. So yeah.
In the same way I said on the Danny Joe Brown album that their keyboard player was the star of the show on this one. On this one, I would say the same thing, and that only continues on to the next side, of course. But for me, for 3 of the songs on this album, I just pretty much put the same notes. Like, I love the piano playing, and the guitar playing had a great tone. The 3 songs, Hoochie Coochie Lady, First Avenue, and I'm Coming Back for You, all had that boogie woogie vibe mixed with country rock sort of thing. And I just like the way that they executed it on it. I thought it was really fun. I could see like people in upstate New York, like in an auditorium, getting down to this.
Yeah, a lot of it is like good music to like sit at the bar and like have a glass of whiskey too.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
like bourbon, like American whiskey for this one. Not the Irish shit I usually drink.
And you know how spot on you are about what you just said? So I told you I was running sound last night. They were playing those Stone songs. They were playing songs in a real similar vein to that. And that's exactly what people were doing.
Yeah.
We had a room full of people sitting at the bar, like, hanging out, like 80 people just in there just drinking whiskey. Like, no, I'll have whiskey tonight. And I'm like,
Yeah.
so like, that's exactly what happened when people listen to that.
I will say though, the 3rd song on this record, Nevermore, I've always really liked that song. When I first started looking into Elf, when I was out of Dio stuff to look for, so I started going further back than Rainbow.
As you do.
Yeah, Nevermore was probably the first song on this album that perked me up when I was, in my early 20s and less open-minded than I am now.
That one sounded the most different from the other songs, I thought.
I really like that last one. I could tell just from stuff that we've recorded before, like what that song like had an influence on your playing and like your overall style.
Yeah, a lot of that bluesy playing is really what I strove for. And I think a lot of that is, my favorite band is Black Sabbath, but I grew up listening to Southern rock with my dad, so.
Yeah. It's a nice blend of both. And I told you that Hoochie Coochie is going to be about taties.
Yeah.
Well, let's start there.
Yeah.
Track 1, Hoochie Coochie Lady.
I wasn't expecting it to be as piano forward, as I said with the whole thing, but I also was kind of surprised it didn't really have an intro. It just kind of started.
Yeah.
That
It was kind of abrupt, wasn't it?
Yeah, just the abrupt way it started really kind of surprised me and caught me off guard. Yeah, it was a song about titties. Yeah.
Yeah.
First Avenue?
Like that, like kind of like slow bluesy shuffle thing it had going. It was, yeah, just a relaxing song to listen to. It didn't sound like the exact same kind of like honky tonk type of stuff as the first one, but it sounded like within the same genre. Like each of the songs I thought had like their own kind of unique identity, which I appreciate. Sometimes when bands lean really hard into a particular genre, they kind of recycle a bunch of stuff. All these songs sounded very distinct from each other. But Hoochie Coochie Lady was more of the sit at the bar and drink whiskey. That was more of the sit on the porch and drink whiskey song.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
You saw the taties, and then you came home and you weren't quite done yet, and you're like, that's too many taties for today. But, I guess never mind, because you would never say that. That's not a thing any of us would ever say. I don't think that's a thing anybody out there should ever say. They're all wonderful and beautiful in their own special way, like snowflakes, but a lot bigger.
I'm glad you point that out, because, it's all the same, like, style of rock and roll, basically, but I noticed back in the 70s, it seemed bands put more emphasis on trying to make their albums more diverse. Like, you'd have your hard rock song, you'd have your blues song, you'd have your shuffle song, you'd have, like, your pop song, whatnot. And nowadays, it seems like a lot of bands just kind of fall into this trap where it's like, it's the same song 10 times in a row.
Or 14.
Yeah, or 14.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
most definitely.
Like,
I'd rather a band put out like 5 kick-ass songs that, different shades for each song than put out 10 songs. It's quality over quantity, and I think that's what bands forget.
Well, I can't tell you how many times I've gone to like a death metal show and there's like 5 bands on the bill and they all play for 45 minutes and they all have the same drummer. Like, it's not. Well, sometimes it literally is the same drummer.
Yeah.
But I don't mean that as literally the same drummer, just like it's the bass drum and the snare going constantly the whole time. And I don't know, what I really liked about Black Sabbath is they talk about how they would do like pretty moments or slow ethereal moments or moments where you can kind of come up to the light a bit before you go right back into the darkness. And I think that's something that a lot of bands lose when they do the same song for a whole album. It feels like this one, they all fit together, but as you say, they all have an identity, so they don't all sound like the same song. Nevermore.
This one sounded the least like the kind of like boogie woogie rock country type of thing. This one sounded like Queen to me. There was that piano intro. Dio was doing kind of like a Freddie Mercury style vocal, and then like when the guitar came in, it sounded very Brian May to me. So yeah, this one sounded like, at least for the first half, sounded like Queen, and then kind of like a little bit of the boogie woogie stuff came about halfway through, but it still sounded like how Queen would do that kind of thing. This was the most different song on the album.
That was like the first couple of songs there were like honky tonky and stuff. I like that. That sounds nice, honky tonky. This one, I think this was this is the progression of our sound. This is what we want the band to sound like, but whoever's footing the bill for this shit wants song 1 and song 2. So when they come in the room, we're playing like song 1 and song 2. But when the album comes out, we're going to have a couple songs on there. And if you listen to the progression of things that Dio's done, really that song is the little tip of the hat. Like, that's what I feel like, hey, this is what it's gonna be, but we like doing this, and this sounds great, but this is what we're gonna do. But we can't just give you 10 times because you're not ready for it yet. But we're just gonna sprinkle a little of that future brilliance onto you.
This was like a hint of the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow.
Yeah.
I'm glad you guys bring that up, because I wrote here, it's a hint at things to come, because this is the most Dio sounding he sounds on this album, is this song.
The vocals reminded me of the Dio stuff I know.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
To the point that I'm surprised he didn't revive this song for his solo career. I know he was kind of embarrassed of like the stuff he did in the 60s with the Prophets. Like, I can't verify it, but I'd heard a story that one time he like stormed out of an interview because they brought up his Ronnie Dio and the Prophets stuff. So, but I don't think he was embarrassed at Elf in the same way, because you know, there's interviews. There's one called the Brutally Honest Dio interview, where the guy puts all the albums in front of him, and he was really pissed about the Black Sabbath reunion breaking down, so he was just like ready to spill the tea. Yeah, all the things he had to say about Elf were, this is an album that I made with my friends. I really like the way that he put that. So overall, I'm surprised that he didn't adapt that into a Dio song, because I could totally hear that fitting in with his set.
Now imagine him bringing in into Sabbath, though.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
Well, and what's funny is, Craig Gruber wasn't on this one. Their bass player on the next two records went on to briefly play in Black Sabbath and was actually a big part of Heaven and Hell. Like, he did an interview where he talked about how he recorded most of the album minus Neon Nights, and then they brought Geezer Butler back in, so he basically, like, all right, well, pay me, I guess. But the song Die Young is one of his, and Die Young kind of reminds me of the song a little bit, so
I can see that.
Yeah. I'm Coming Back for You.
Yeah, this sounded the most like 70s rock to me. Just kind of crunchy guitar. I like what he was doing with the vocal melody, especially in like the pre-chorus. That was also a kind of hint of Dio's to come. Just the like the way he would go up a little bit.
How do you think this song compared to Speeding Back to My Baby?
It was an actual good song, so favorably. This is a song that I wouldn't change the radio station if it came on, so favorably.
Adam, have you heard the Kiss solo albums?
Nope, but I'm going to play devil's advocate here and say it is the greatest and best Kiss song ever.
I'm going to clip that out and make that into a short. What did you think of I'm Coming Back for You?
Well, I think it's the same as the other, kind of in that way that it, it just even says it in the title. It's like, I'm coming back for you. This is what you're going to hear next from me. I kind of wanted it to be, I don't know, sometimes I wish Dio was mean.
He was great to his fans. He was great to the press, but if you wronged him in any sort of way, he was very much a you're dead to me kind of guy. Like,
yeah, I'm sure his bandmates didn't think he was not mean.
Well, I think he obviously got along with people, because I think he ended up finding a group of musicians that would work with him no matter what. But it's like Cozy Powell, the drummer from Rainbow, which you heard on the Headless Cross album, he wanted Cozy Powell to leave Rainbow to do his solo album, and when Cozy Powell said he wouldn't do that, I guess reportedly Dio just hated his guts after that. Like, there's stories of him during the Dehumanizer sessions for Black Sabbath where one of them described them as fire and ice because they just couldn't get along. And I think, based on what I've heard, I think that's more on Dio's side than Cozy's side. But maybe Cozy Powell was a huge dick.
Well, from what I understand, he was pretty blunt, too. Like, somebody asked him, some other famous performer asked him in the green room. Dio was getting ready to go on, and he goes, "How do you warm up? Like, how do you get your voice like that?" And Dio took a drag of a cigarette, took a sip of his wine, and goes, "I don't," and walked off. I was like, "Oh, yeah, all right. That sounds like he's just a very like blunt guy. Like, don't play with me. Like, I'm Dio, dude. Like, don't play with me."
Well, and I know he would throw around his weight when,
Which is funny because he actually is fucking only 3.5 feet tall.
But anyway, yes, he would throw around his weight when Sabbath wouldn't do what he wanted to. I guess one time, like, Tony Martin, like, went up to, like, shake his hand, and, like, he just totally gave him the cold shoulder and just iced him out. Like, Tony Martin's like, "Hey, man, you're such a tough act to follow. I'm such a big fan of yours." And Dio just said, "Good," and just walked away.
People misunderstand you because we can't hear what you're saying.
And this isn't to, like bag on the guy and call him, like, a bad guy or anything.
No.
He's human just like the rest of us.
Yeah.
And, he didn't get along with some people in the industry, and it's like, we don't get along with everybody in the world either.
Yeah.
So, there's two sides to every story on that, but, I think some of it just came down to Dio probably knew his worth.
Yeah, I mean, I like to think of Dio as like a dirty old bum. Like, you're gonna sock him one, but then you're like, "No, something's different about this one." I don't know, it's Dio.
I think it's really funny that when Vivian Campbell, the guitar player on the first 3 Dio records, left to join Def Leppard, somebody asked Dio about it, and he's like, "Oh yeah, Def Leppard. Well, that's a band you can go and get diarrhea with." Which,
This is not wrong. I mean,
Yeah.
we can now preview our season finale because we're talking about doing a Def Leppard record. So,
Oh, God.
things to come.
Things to come.
I'm gonna show up for that one, but I'm gonna have facts about an actual like Def Leppard that was at a zoo.
We should just have like as many guests as we can have on that one. We'll have Sean, and we'll have Pete, and we'll have you on here. We can have both the Peterson brothers finally together.
Prerequisite: you have to hate Def Leppard to be on this episode.
Well, then I gotta be the spoiler. I'm gonna be the one guy that does.
Well, we'll find out. Because if you like Def Leppard, then we're gonna beat you with sausages.
Well, so, like, basically the same thing that happened today.
That's how we got you here. Well, all right. You guys have any other thoughts about side 1?
As a whole, it was pretty solid. Diverse set of songs that all fit in the same genre still. I was expecting more Zeppelin, less Hank Williams, but, it all worked out. So, yeah.
All right, Adam.
I concur.
Well, I find you both shallow and pedantic.
Damn it.
All right, side 2. Or B, or whatever.
Yeah. You're recording?
Yeah, that's...
Because I didn't see it moving.
Oh, it just zoomed out so much that you can't see it.
Oh, okay.
All right, that was side B of Elf by the band Elf, inspired by the movie Elf. No, not really.
Smiling's my favorite.
Well, what'd you guys think of that one?
It's pretty good. I think this was one of the ones where side 1 was a little stronger, but not by much.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
It was, consistent throughout.
Yeah, so it was like I said before you hit the button. It was like listening to System of a Down, Hypnotize, Mesmerize, only good. It was like 2 just different like EPs, you know what I mean? Like that's what it felt like listening to. And everything was good, but it all still went together at the same time. Like these 2 bands that were like, we're each gonna do like 3 songs, but then on this song and this song, we're gonna do this. And it was just 2 really like, pointing to the later Dio stuff, kind of precursor to that. But it was also very honky-tonky, and honestly, I think they should just re-release it so it can win the CMA Album of the Year, and we can get rid of fucking Luke Bryant and all them fucking guys.
Yeah, just pretend this is a new country release.
And this album's called Fuck Morgan Wallen. Don't throw chairs at police officers. Part 2.
I think Elf were the way they were because when they started out, I think they would play like the top 40 hits for, people, which I think a lot of bands did that at the time, like Rush would do that. Even Black Sabbath, I mean, early on when they were Earth, they would play a lot of like blues standards just in their Sabbath way.
Like one of my favorite Who albums is the Who Live at Leeds, and it's just like there's a bunch of blues standards covers just mixed in with the originals. So
Yeah, that was just a really big thing at the time.
Like people played covers a lot more back in the day. They wouldn't always put them on their records because then they'd have to pay for all that. But yeah, covers used to be much more common.
All right, well, for me, I thought the first 3 songs were all, very bluesy, very honky-tonk, but with, a lot of different variety. This album as a whole is, something I could see you putting on, like, at an event and just letting the whole album run.
Yeah.
But the song Gambler, Gambler, and we'll get more into it after the breakdown, but that one, I think, was the standout on this side. And, God, it's hard to pick between that one and Nevermore. Both those are very strong songs. And Dio kind of gets his, like, future growl on that one, even though the music doesn't remind me of future Dio at all.
It's interesting. We say that we like the honky-tonk bluesy stuff on this, but the tracks that we tend to pick as the standouts are the ones that deviate from that somewhat.
Yeah, I think it's just because they stand out so much.
Well, it's what we're used to hearing, you know what I mean? Like, when I want to hear Dio, those songs in my mind are closer to, like, if anything that he's done, that's the kind of material that my brain mainly goes to that I want to listen to. So I feel like that's why our brains pick those out, because they're very familiar sounding to us, as opposed to Dio singing about his, dog in his truck and his woman all leaving him.
Yeah, that's a really good point. It's probably because we're biased towards something that sounds more like what we're used to, maybe. We hear a lot of what we'd expect from Dio, I'd say, on Nevermore, like lyrically. Gambler, Gambler, I could also see that maybe fitting retooled in a solo setting, just because of the way he delivers the vocals in like an aggressive manner. The rest of these, I couldn't imagine him playing those.
That would be awesome, though.
Wouldn't that be great? Right after Holy Diver, suddenly the piano for Hoochie Coochie Lady comes on.
I would be more interested in seeing like Black Sabbath doing Hoochie Coochie Lady.
Coming this summer, the Dio doo-wop tour. First set is Dio doing doo-wop. Second set is Dio doing honky tonk. And since he's a hologram now,
Okay, well, let's do a track by track breakdown here. Sit down, honey. Everything will be all right.
I mean, it was fine, but it was like, to me, it was the least interesting track on the album. Didn't like stand out to me in any way. Like it was a good opener, like good energy, but it was just kind of, like, yeah. It was there.
Plus, if somebody says, like, sit down, it's going to be all right, they're lying.
Yeah.
Immediately, they're lying. They're about to tell you something really bad. So, that one right there is like, what do you, nah. I'll just stand right here by this open door. Thank you very much.
I did notice, like, he strained his voice a little bit in that one, like, so he was still kind of trying to figure out what exactly he wanted to do as a singer, which I thought was interesting. Like, the little imperfections, is what stood out to me the most, because he hadn't quite figured out exactly how to command his voice like he later could.
Yeah, that's something that I was thinking when we were listening to the War Pigs cover earlier. It's funny that you hear him do that, and I think it was 74, and Dio goes on to sing that song officially, but like early on, he doesn't sound like the Dio that ended up singing War Pigs later on in the band, but it still sounds like him, so he hadn't quite found his voice by this period. I'm glad you brought that up. Dixie Lee Junction.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
I like the mellowness of it. That one kind of felt like had some, not that the rest of them didn't, I felt that one kind of had a little heart to it.
Yeah.
Like just a little extra something.
I do like it how in the intro that you pointed out that it sounded like Collective Soul ripped it off with whatever that song is. Down. Yeah.
Yeah, you guys were both sitting there for like a minute going, what does it sound like?
Well, and they had a little like Rage Against the Machine in it, I think. Or was that the next one?
That was Gambler, Gambler.
Oh, yeah.
That's 2 away from now.
I like songs with a slow build. This had a slow build.
I'm trying to read my own handwriting here, and I put start slow and what looks like tore shit halfway through.
Yeah. Sped up. I will reflexively be against anything with the word Dixie in the title, but I did like the song. So. You lost the war.
Yeah, but I mean, let's be fair though. Dixie cups are.
Yeah.
I put my snacks in those, but I think that's just a chick named Dixie.
Yeah.
But if you're a chick named Dixie or a dude or whatever, you should probably change your name because Dixie's not cool.
Since they're all from upstate New York, maybe that song's about them being carpetbaggers.
Yeah. Well, it was about touring. Like, I was able to get some of the lyrics while listening to it for the first time, so not like all of them, but it did sound like it was about leaving New York to travel through the South, which I think is like a cool subject for a song. You're touring, you're getting away from home, you're experiencing something new.
I wonder how many Southern groupies the Elf guys bagged on that tour.
Oh, more than 12.
Yes. Yeah, definitely more than 12.
Yeah.
Next song, Love Me Like a Woman.
That was a song about pegging.
Yeah,
Dio
it
likes
was
to
a
get
really
pegged.
progressive song, honestly, for the time frame.
Yeah.
That was really, and that's one thing, honestly, you could really say about Dio. He's always like a real progressive guy.
This did sound like the most like boogie woogie Southern Fried song on the album so far, just like really leaning into that honky tonk.
Every time somebody says Southern Fried, I get a little hungrier.
Yeah.
Me too.
Damn, I want some cheap fried steak.
You know, what I think is really funny is he left Rainbow after Long Live Rock and Roll. And part of the reason was he didn't want to write love songs because Richie Blackmore wanted to make more money. So he's like, well, he actually sent Roger Glover to tell Dio to write love songs, and Dio said he wouldn't do it. But it's like, half of this album was love songs.
Yeah, maybe he was bored with it. Yeah. You can only do so many love songs.
Yeah, maybe he was burnt out on that point. Maybe
Yeah.
he should have just been like, I don't know, Elf didn't do very good. Let's just do an album of Elf songs. The last one, my favorite track on this side, and a competer for my favorite on the whole album, Gambler Gambler.
Every band like this does a song about gamblers, although it's funny that it's one of the ones that sounds less like their normal sound.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that they ended on a really energetic, like, rock and roll song. It was their heaviest one on the album, so I think that was a good place to put it.
Yeah, it was probably my favorite, actually.
Yeah, and it had a really nice, groovy rhythm to it. The drummer would describe himself as a R&B style drummer, and I think it really came through on that one.
Yeah, it was kind of funky at times.
Yeah, really.
And it's hard to pick between that and the other one, the favorite from side A.
Yeah.
Nevermore.
Yeah, because I think they're both. I think they're kind of right there together. You can't see that. I'm signaling like right? But I forgot that this is not. This is audio only, so a lot of this is just gonna go.
This one edged out Nevermore a little bit for me because it sounded more original, I guess. Like it sounded more unique, a little more weird.
I could see that, especially that ending.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That ending was just... You wouldn't have expected that ending.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it was really cool.
They should
The
have
tape
called.
skipping thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Just make that a whole nother track at the end of it called "Here Come the Mushrooms."
Yeah.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
We should sample that for something.
It reminded me of the ending of one of David Bowie's more underrated songs, Chant of the Ever-Circling Skeleton Family, the closer for Diamond Dogs. We'll probably do Diamond Dogs eventually, so I don't want to get too much into it. But where it's kind of like skipping on the word brother, but it's skipping in a way that it sounds like he's chanting riot, 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 riot at the end. So it's cool. I always like little tape experiments, especially like to close out the song, just wake you up so that you're not like zoning out so much as it's ending, just kind of, hey, pay attention to me, and then ending. It's a good trick.
It's like what you think is about to happen is not what's about to happen.
Yeah.
Well, all right. So that was your guys' first exposure to the band Elf. What'd you think overall?
I liked it. Yeah, it was good.
On the off the beaten path meter of albums I brought in, where would you put this one?
Yeah, it was more off the beaten path than I think Danny Joe Brown ended up being. I didn't like it as much as Danny Joe Brown, but I also didn't dislike it. It was less weird than Screaming Lord Such, which I guess I also liked Screaming Lord Such. Maybe a little more than this, but it was about the same level.
All right. What'd you think, Adam? I know you keep saying you're going to cover this entire album.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I was just gonna say. Yeah, I better check on that. I'm not going to wink wink cover any of the songs of this album. As far as it kind of being off the beaten path of weird stuff, it feels less weird to me because it's Dio and because we all know Dio,
Yeah.
But I don't know, I feel like it should be kind of talked about a little more. I feel like more people should, especially musicians, typically we find inspiration, at least me, I find inspiration in music that's not genres that I don't play. I'm not going to listen to, if I'm a country artist, I'm not going to listen to country all the time.
Right.
If I'm a metal artist, I'm not going to listen to metal. I feel like this is one of those albums where if you want to play that honky-tonk type style, this is an album that you should definitely have in your playbook. If you're going to go off the beaten path, because that's the type of music that you want to listen to, or that's the type of music that you want to learn to play, I kind of feel like this album is a good place, gives you a really good example without being too twangy and too hokey. But at the same time, if you want to play doom and you want to play that Sabbathy kind of style, especially the middle track on this album, it's very doomy, but it's very simple. So you're like, I've always wanted to play doom. Like, I wouldn't even know where to start. The song's not a bad place to start because it really gives you a really basic layout of how a classic doom song should sound and gives you a good platform to like build on. You're like, that's at the end of the day, like, I don't want to copy Sabbath or I don't want to copy Dio, but they're the like forefathers of this shit. So this gives me the platform to build my own songs in that genre, I guess.
Yeah.
So it's two-pronged. It could work for...
You don't want to copy them, but you want to take a look at their blueprints, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's a good place to start all the way through. Like, it gives you really good examples of
And that's why I'm
both
surprised.
styles.
That's why I'm surprised he never revived that one for his later career, because I think he could have fit that one into.
Yeah. I'm kind of sad that we never covered any of those now. Oh, shit.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting piece of history. Are you guys surprised they never found commercial success?
Not really. There's just so many bands doing music in this general vein at that time. I can see how it, I'm not doing that to call it unoriginal, but I can also see like how it might not have necessarily stood out when there was just like a lot of stuff like that at this time going around.
Well, right, like 72, I mean, Deep Purple was releasing their insane music, Black Sabbath was releasing their insane music, and this, compared to that, seems kind of dated, side by side. It seems like it might have been more home, a couple years ago, rather than 1972 when it came out.
Yeah.
Also, you got to think too, and it might have happened a little bit later than that. But was it John Travolta did the cowboy movie? There's Rhinestone Cowboy. There was some big cowboy movies in the 70s with totally found commercial success. There was an audience for, like how you said, how it sounds a little dated compared to some of the similar stuff their counterparts were doing at that time. There's totally movies and a lot of examples I could think of where if somebody would have just given this just a little tap, it would have been playing in the background of a John Travolta movie or something, but it would have still got some kind of commercial success.
Yeah. I can see that.
But that would also change the course of history as far as, that operatic style of Dio and like what he did with Sabbath and things like that would completely change the history of Black Sabbath and possibly rock and roll if it would have found commercial success, because that's what they would have wanted them to keep doing. Then I'd be like, that middle song and that last song, we're going to kind of cut that out there. Maybe why don't you do like a sappy country style, like heartfelt ballad right there. And you get what I'm saying? It would have completely... So it's almost a good thing that it didn't catch on until much later when, Dio was being Dio.
Yeah, and I think a lot like the Samson album that we reviewed with Clayton a few weeks ago, Dio was always going to move on to bigger things.
Yeah.
I think it's actually really cool that Ritchie Blackmore used this band for the first Rainbow album, which we'll be looking at probably next season, because I'm trying to avoid doing the same artist, and that's close enough, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
As a piece of history, I definitely hear where Dio was going to go, and you also get a really good look at his past, I think. I think you can hear a lot of the influences and a lot of the stuff that they were listening to at the time in this album. I can definitely hear the barnyard dance
hoedown
aesthetic. Yeah. Yeah, it definitely does sound like the kind of album you put on for a hoedown. That's a good way to put it.
And it also proves once again so you guys are gonna get hate mail for this. This proves once again why Dio was superior to Ozzy when he was in Sabbath in every single possible way. I love classic Sabbath lineup, but I'm sorry, fucking Dio eats Ozzy like Kobayashi. Like, no. Like, sorry, it's just Ozzy. People are like, Ozzy's so incoherent now. Ozzy's never been that coherent. Calm down, Sparky. Like, Dio could actually write an entire song Ozzy could scroll some stuff on a bar, and I love Ozzy. I do. Like as a person, Ozzy's come a long way, and Ozzy's a pretty good guy. You see him playing with his grandkids and all that. Like Ozzy came out to be a pretty good guy. Like, but how's it? I bet you were sitting at like, no, never mind. I bet he's sitting at home like, this fuck bullshit. Dio's fucking out there killing it right now. Then I was like, nah, he was doing pretty good on his own, but Ozzy's solo material, I don't give a shit. Randy Rhoads, amazing. Zakk Wylde, amazing. That's great. Just never hold up to Sabbath. Either what Ozzy did in Sabbath, like, or what he did on his own, it'll never hold up to what Dio did on his own and in Sabbath. Like, I'm Ozzy Osbourne, this is great. Yeah, well, Dio's out there singing your fucking shit right now. And he doesn't even try. He's got a cigarette and a glass of wine, and he's wrecking shop because he's Dio.
I like the first 5 Sabbath records more than the Heaven and Hell era, but I do think that the Heaven and Hell era of Sabbath is better than Ozzy solo stuff. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There's a decline in quality. There's a serious deficiency in quality. Even Ozzy at his best solo is great.
The first 2 records, I think, are required listening, more or less.
I think Crazy Train is the most overplayed song on rock radio.
Oh, 100% agree.
But his material was always better in Black Sabbath. Better musicians and better people writing, because he wasn't. And plus, he had Lemmy helping write for him a lot on his early solo stuff.
Well, after those 2 albums, I feel Ozzy was much more of a pop artist with a heavy metal veneer.
Yeah.
And I like a lot of that. Yeah, I'd rather listen to the Tony Martin era of Black Sabbath than listen to most of Ozzy's solo material.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's just a serious decline in quality, and that's because Dio wasn't born, dude. Dio was hatched.
Yeah.
Like,
and when it comes to Dio, like, I prefer Ozzy Sabbath over Dio Sabbath, but I prefer Dio solo over Ozzy solo. And while his solo career isn't perfect, I don't think he's ever released a bad album.
yeah, I can get behind that.
All right, Adam, what do you got to plug?
I got to plug Wasabi Bobby. We got some gigs coming up in Omaha. Chances are you're probably not listening to this in Omaha. But you should come here and go to those gigs anywhere.
Well, that's still our biggest listening base.
Okay. Well, those gigs are, you can go to our Instagram at Wasabi Bobby Official and see where we're going to be at next. I'll
link that down in the description.
And the venue, I know the next couple of shows is Beach House Bar and Grill in Omaha. I think they have an Instagram too, Beach House Bar and Grill. Yeah, they got some good shows, and we're going to do a little series of them there. And then we're going to hide for a while because it's cold, and nobody likes hauling gear when it's cold.
Nope,
not around here. Nope.
If you want to hear me and Adam on the same recording, we've put out 2 EPs under the name Valley of Shadows, creatively titled Volume 1 and Volume 2. Those are on Bandcamp. You can also hit up my website, which you can get the information for after the theme song's done, or check out the description.
Yeah, Steve said so.
All right, Dave.
We'll catch you on the flip side. Indeed.
Well said, well said.
Oh, what was I going to say?
Pouring beer on Flexo until you remember what you say.
I wanted to talk about Dio. Well, come on, dude. Go over to that celebrity death match?
Looks like, yeah.
Dio or Rush?
I think the fact that Alex Lifeson, who has brawled with the cops a few times, is in Rush. I think Rush wins that one.
Yeah, but I think Dio wins because he can blow up microphones with his voice.
I don't know, Dave, what do you think?
Lifeson versus Dio in a fight?
Yeah.
Lifeson. We're talking about a fight, not like who's the, you know.
No,
not like who
we're
we
talking about a
prefer, but yeah.
celebrity death match, the entirety of Rush versus Dio.
Oh, just Dio?
Yeah, just Dio
So he
versus
doesn't-
all of Rush.
So he doesn't even get... Can we at least give him coked out Iommi?
No, but for argument's sake, just to give him a little more of a fighting chance, he's outnumbered 3-1. So we're gonna bring in as a special guest. We'll throw in Blaze Bailey. Yeah. It's like, well, that doesn't even have anything to do with any of those.
Side 1, Side B is a Floof Goof Studios production. Check us out on the interwebs by going to my website, killrockmusic.com. That's KILRAVOCK music.com. And there's a tab for Side 1, Side B. And additionally, you can check out me and Dave's projects, The Alliterates and Lucid Fugue, respectively. You can also check us out on Instagram at Killrock Music SWS and Dave_Diction. You can also check out our subreddit, Side 1, Side B, and there I post various updates and memes and other bullshit. Thank you.
Waka waka.